Hey everyone. So I just wanted to do a quick video on something that's been irking me for a little while. I kind of just want to put this argument out there to see how everyone feels about it. Certainly tell me in the comment section what you think, if I'm onto something, if you think I'm maybe missing something. But I really just want to kind of focus on the concept of pescatarianism. So this is, as I'm sure most of us know, pescatarianism is a term to describe someone who eats fish and then not any other kind of meat. And there are some problems with the use of this term and really even its existence, just the mere existence of this term. I think pescatarianism is something that I would call a noncept. So a noncept is, it's a pretty original idea that I came up with. Basically describing a concept that doesn't actually mean anything. There are other examples of noncepts. I'll get into it on another video, because I think that you guys can pretty much understand what a noncept is without me having to go through examples and stuff. Think about pescatarianism as a noncept. So it's a term. On its face, it seems like a thing. Pescatarianism, well, it's a whole bunch of letters put together. It's definitely a word. It definitely describes something. But what is this something that it describes? Someone who eats fish and no other meat. Well, categorically right there, I don't even understand it. Because I think that the way people use pescatarianism, it's to kind of suggest that they eat fish only. And that there's a difference there. That they're different by eating fish and no other land meat, we would call, than the people who do eat land meat. Really what makes them not any different is almost all of these people still eat dairy. So they're still eating meat and they're still eating dairy, but they call themselves pescatarians. I don't really see the point there. I just think that it's this word that kind of gives this false distinction for individuals who are trying to make themselves less accountable for their actions in terms of eating fish. Some people a lot of people really think that fish is this weird other substance. So land animals, well, those are made of meat, but fish, people don't seem to think that that's meat all the time. And veganism aside, this is something that really I just can't wrap my head around. It's something that is, frankly, foolish. And people tell me this stuff all the time. Even when I tell people I'm vegan, they'll say, oh, okay, so do you still eat fish? And I'm always in my head, I'm like, well, I already said that I don't eat, animals. I don't eat meat. So why would I eat fish? What is fish made from? I think that there's, people really misunderstand that fish is meat. And I think that this falsehood is also perpetuated by the very existence of the term pescatarianism. So people can call themselves pescatarianism, and it implies this idea that, again, fish is different than meat. They're categorically different. So if you only eat fish, well, you're a different category of... It's a different category than it would if you were to eat land animals and the dairy and everything else. And really, as I've demonstrated here, that is just not the case. So I think that this is something where it's a little unfortunate that we use this term. And going forward, in my own life, I'm definitely going to try to lightly challenge people about when they try to ascribe to themselves being pescatarian. When people use the terms, I'm really going to lightly challenge those individuals to make them realize that this doesn't mean anything. It's a distinction without a difference. And I mean, maybe you guys can too, out there, all you, the world of viewers. Because I think that we really want to engage properly with the issues of consuming animals. I would even argue that pescatarianism, the existence of this term, really is another instantiation of the power of carnism. And by that I mean that people describe themselves as pescatarians and they think in a really deep, subtle way that fish are not meat. Fish, eating fish is not like eating meat. And it just really represents how we have these really arbitrary and irrational ways of compartmentalizing different sets of animals. So for those who remember, carnism is basically the idea that we compartmentalize animals into these different strata, where mostly what to think about is farm animals being the lowest level of strata, where there's basically no moral consideration given to farm animals. There's no value. They're not seen as like feeling individuals with consciousness and identities. They're just kind of seen as livestock, which is one of the most euphemistic terms ever, as kind of just like feelingless vessels that are instruments for our own consumption. And the pescetarianism, that the use of that term, really reinforces the power of carnism in our world, where people, again, are having these arbitrary frames for what kind of animals there are and what these animals are made from. And it, not only, carnism is bad, but like it just belies elementary biology, right? Like individuals who think that fish are not made of meat have to ask themselves some really deep questions about what they think they know about biology, because what else is fish? This is something that comes up very often, where I'm like left in my own head wondering, what the hell do you think what do you think this is made from? People, again, like more people who say that they're pescatarian tell me or try to suggest that fish is not meat. There are more people who think that fish is not meat in my own observations than there are people who call themselves pescatarianism or call themselves pescatarian. That's a problem. That's a deep problem. And I think that getting rid of the term pescatarianism is one way to address it. But it's also like, we really got to get this right? Like we want to make sure that we are kind of have the correct, most logical frames for our lifestyle choices. So if our lifestyle choice is to eat meat and dairy, well, then you're just a normal person in society today. There's no word for it because it's just like you're normal. Like you're just everyone else, or mostly everyone else. But calling yourself pescatarian doesn't mean anything. Now, I was talking with Mike Vivada recently. This is the only logical alternative I could think to the term. But Mike was suggesting, okay, maybe the term can be used to describe people who eat meat but not dairy. Well, there's a distinction. I mean, that's different than what the quote unquote normal person would consume. I'm open to it. I think it's logical. There's certainly it's a sound argument. I just I don't know how representative of a group of individuals that is. Like, how many people out there truly just eat meat and no dairy? It's probably like an infinitesimal number. I mean, I'm sure that there are people out there, but, the B argument is, well, I mean, I guess that's really it. I mean, are there really enough people out there to kind of make use of this term so we can reappropriate the term to use it a little bit more properly? The pescatarians, to describe yourself a pescatarian, if you're someone who just eats meat and no dairy, well, that's whether you eat land meat or like sea meat, or fish or land animals. Whether you eat either one of those and no dairy, then you can call yourself a pescatarian, perhaps. I'm not the author of the English language, so implementing that kind of change would take time and people and energy and whatever else. So maybe let's start that effort here. I want you to tell me what you think below in the comments, to say or not to say pescatarianism, to even think about the term. Because, I mean, again, when I say I want it out of our lexicon, I do not want anyone really thinking about the term. I don't want it to be used, which is a strong argument to make. I want you all to tell me how you feel about that, and then also check out our other platforms for The Reason Vegan. So thereasonvegan.com, obviously, that's our website. We have a lot more content on the website and more deep analysis into certain vegan topics. Also, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Trying to set up a Snapchat, but I mean, these are the primary channels we'll be using. and you'll just see different comments and commentary. YouTube is pretty much my domain, like I've been explaining in my other videos. So I just kind of want to put this out there. This is my talking piece for the day. As you can see, like I'm in a parking garage. I'm at work right now. I've literally been holding this video off for weeks. So here it is. Tell me what you think. Pescetarianism, I think it's pretty pointless. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks. Have a good one.